You see the title. That just came out of nowhere. I was actually trying to figure out what I wanted to say about this show. And then it just, like that. As you can see, action galore, Forbidden Door. That's what this is. This is action galore, a extension of Forbidden Door. I would have said that, but it didn't feel more catchy. I'm going to make it very clear. This was an extension of Forbidden Door. That's what this is. This show was an extension of what we got on Sunday. Flat out, that's what we got. There's no way you can deny it. Was it good? For people who love this type of style, hell yeah, you will enjoy it. Now, other people, they're going to have some problems with it because they're going to probably say there was too much flips, too much kicks, there wasn't enough storyline. People probably got hurt a lot more than were supposed to. Then Britt Baker was not there because she got sick from Adam Cole. A lot of stuff just didn't seem to work. That's what some people are going to say. But in general, if you've been wanting better pro wrestling from WWE, this is going to be the show you're going to want, even though it's not going to have everything you want. And I'm not going to be saying this at the end. I'm just saying it now. You got this. Look, Moxley versus Ishii. From what happened their last fight. Now, supposedly they were at the G1 Climax together. And then now we had this match. I think, what was it, 2018? The last time Ishii was facing a Moxley at, what was it, G1 Classic, I believe. I believe that's what it is. I never saw it, so I don't know. But I'm going to say this. These two legitimately were 100% non-stop crash test dummies. They refused to stay still. They refused not to keep hitting each other. At one point, Moxley was headbutting Ishii. Ishii was headbutting him. He got split open. And understand, Moxley was already cut open beforehand. Now, maybe it was due to the fact he wanted to make sure he bled. Or it was still injuries that he still had not fully healed from. But I do believe it might be the first. Because it looked like it was a fresh wound right there. He wanted to make sure that during this match, he bled. So that's what we got here. This was non-stop. We also got Eddie Kingston at ringside. My boy that I keep telling you guys that they must eventually push to the main title scene. He is so freaking over. It is impossible to deny it. But the problem is always going to be Tony himself. Tony Khan's going to have to make the call to push a Eddie Kingston who was hot last year. Yes, he had issues with Sammy Guevara. Then he got some physical issues. He got hurt. He got hernia surgery. I'm not saying he's perfect, but this has to be the year to push him to either get a TNT title or a world title. Not a trios title, not a tag title, a title of his own. People will eat it up. They will go like this. They will devour it. I'm telling you, this is what we got. In the end, Moxley did finally beat Ishii. He did. And then we got the little attitude between Mox as well as Eddie Kingston. It's obvious that they had that attitude. And then, finally, something I've been wanting, Renee, Mox's real wife, gets involved because at one point she's interviewing the Blackpool Combat Club. But she's really talking to Mox. She's talking to John directly, saying, "What is this, John? What are you doing?" And Eddie shows up. She is done with this attitude between the two. She doesn't want them to fight because she already knows in real life these two know each other for decades. They legitimately love each other. And this has got to be making Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston happy because this is one of the rare times these two have been able to have a story that is about them. And now, Renee's involved, which I've always felt that the way WWE always did it was making sure that no one, when you're married to somebody or you're related to somebody, that they don't want to do anything with you. Here, they actually allowed the interaction. So I commend them. This is something I've been wanting for years. Now the question is, will it be done correctly or not? How is Renee, if this is the only time, it kind of feels like it needs to be more. And if it is more, how they're going to book it with Renee and how careful they're going to try and make sure Renee is used just enough that she doesn't completely compromise herself as an interviewer. And it doesn't mess up the story between Mox and Eddie. Just moving on. Next, Orange Cassidy, Van Kingo, and Keith Lee versus the JAS. Keith is no longer having grayish hair. It's now black again. Now, either he's dyeing his hair, which I don't think he's dyeing it anymore, because I don't think that gray was him. I think it was actually his natural black hair. He had been dyeing it white, I think, to try and be a little more like Rick, I believe. Or maybe he's gone back to dyeing it again, back to black, because it is turning gray. I don't know. You guys tell me below. I've never checked to see if he's got gray hair or not in real life. Only thing I know is that he's not gray anymore. It was an okay match. I'm not saying it was the most greatest match out of the entire card. It wasn't. But seeing that Van Kingo nailed him, and instead of destroying Van Kingo, he used him to do what he needed to do to get the win. And it was Keith Lee over Daddy Magic. You know what makes my nipples hard? Getting Van Kingo in my face. Because that did happen. Van Kingo did try to flip him. It didn't work, and he was in his crotch for quite a while. And that's Daddy Magic. I will say it was interesting seeing Daddy Magic try to chop down the tree known as Keith Lee. I do not know if they're going to continue working with these three. To be honest, it seems like a mismatch, and I don't want to see them as a trio. But at least they did something with them. I don't know if everyone's going to agree with it. It's good to see them try something, but I don't want to see it constantly. I don't believe Van Kingo, Keith Lee, and Orange Cassidy need to work together as a trio. I just don't. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Dark Order versus the Elite. We got Reynolds. Well, let me give it to you like this. The person that was most vocal was Silver. Silver was the most vocal, more than Evil Uno. And I like that. Silver is always, to me, the untapped potential of a Johnny Hungy. I know not everyone likes him. He's a shrimp. He is legitimately like a Jonathan Gresham, a sawed-off runt that is Wolverine's son. That is Wolverine. When it comes to Johnny Hungy in AEW, he's Wolverine, just like Jonathan Gresham is Wolverine. And kind of, if you want to be on the truth, Jordan Grace is like Wolverine as a female version. I'm just saying. But we get this match due to the fact they're pissed off at Hangman Page. I just can't stand it. This is where it kind of falls flat for me personally, because they didn't build up into this. You could have had this match built up over the next couple of weeks. You could have had the match, and either they didn't get the match, and they basically pissed off the Elite eventually. That's what I think should have happened here. But here's the thing. They weren't really important. They weren't. When it comes down to, after the match is over, you pretty much get the Blackpool Combat Club coming out, whooping the Elite's ass, and Dark Order walks away. They're done. They're finished. I kind of wish they had built up into it, because then it would have more of a payoff. This is what they went with. I don't agree with it. I just don't. But now we're going to have Blood and Guts on, when? The 19th. Kind of wish it was 27th on my birthday, but anyway, it's for the 19th. They're going to do Blood and Guts. They're going to end this, and I love what Mox said in this segment. Once Eddie came out, he got his arm trashed. Hangman Page started bleeding. You can see Mox has gotten stitched up. He says he wants blood and guts. But the thing that got me, that I like to hear, that I've never heard anybody say, they always say, no matter if it's WWE, Impact Wrestling, and to a certain extent AEW or MLW, even the old ROH and NWA, we have pushed each other to the limit. They always push, I hate it. They always say they push each other to the limit. They never say, it's time to end this. We're going beyond our limits. That's what Moxley said. And I like that line. It is rare to hear that you say, we're going to go beyond our limits. Why not say it once in a while? Where it's such an important match and it's to the top tier of the company. Why not say once in a while, we're going to push ourselves beyond our limits. They always say we're going to push each other to limits. That just limits you. I like to see someone go beyond, and Moxley did it, and it's blood and guts. I'm fine with that. Ruby Soho versus Nicole. I can't remember her first name. What was her first name? I can't remember it. But I'm not saying she was a bad wrestler. But I'm not going to say she's good because she didn't last very long. She got her ass handed to her by Ruby Soho, who was supposed to go up against Britt Baker. But Britt is sick. We all know that Adam Cole got sick. And that's the reason why he wasn't at Forbidden Door. To be honest, I had forgotten that he was going to be at Forbidden Door. He was supposed to have a match. He didn't go because he was sick. They did announce it on Forbidden Door. He was sick. He couldn't show up. Now, Britt's got it. She's out. She's sick. She's out. And hopefully next week she'll be recovered enough that she can be ready for the match. Now, I got to say this. When it comes to Ruby, she had so much momentum when she came in. And it all was destroyed by the time she dealt with the TBS title and the world title. She basically lost everything. And they had to rebuild her into this persona in the Outcast. I got to say this. This promo of hers, I liked. And I'm not saying it was garbage. I actually liked it because she made it very clear after beating Nicole and playing with her after beating her and doing the lockjaw of the Britt Baker. She made it very clear, Britt, you've never been loved. You've never been liked. When we had our match together in the original Owen Hart Foundation, on your best day, you barely managed to beat me. What do you think is going to happen now? I am now myself. I am now with the right people, with the right women by my side. What do you got? We took care of all your hoes. You're alone now. You ain't going to stand a chance. I like that. That was fine. There's nothing wrong with it. That was a good way to really at least give Ruby something and to kind of compensate for Britt Baker not being there. I mean, she's not there. She's sick. There's just no way to get around it. But at least they tried to salvage the situation. And the crowd was all right with it. Now, here's the parts that were good, that I needed. And I know one of my subscribers who calls Jungle Boy crackhead has to be happy about this. And I'm kind of hoping he doesn't call Jungle Boy that anymore. Not saying he hates Jungle Boy. He just believes he need to be more. And you know who you're talking about. You know who you are. But we got the Jungle Boy. Well, I would rather he be known as Jack Perry. No more Jungle Boy. Because look, he comes out to part of his music. He stops. He said, that's the last time you're going to hear it. Last time. And I got to tell you, I can't remember all of what he said because so much of what's going on in the show. But I'm going to tell you how it felt. It felt like he was always meant to be a heel. Now, I'm not telling you that he did a perfect job at it. I'm saying he did a good job at it, and it works. This is what he probably needed. He was, in the beginning of his run in AEW, very awkward and was not comfortable doing promos. I think he was always worried that he would botch his words. Like, let me give an example of myself. Since now, and I want to say this clearly, if you had not noticed on YouTube, if you go onto the page where all my videos are, you see recent, popular, and now the returned old. The old button is back. I was always pissed that YouTube took that out, but they stated they had problems when they tried to make it work with the new system they put into the website. Now it's back and it works. Now, if you ever went and looked at my first videos, how bad the quality was. It was so bad. I don't remember even the first 10 videos. I mean, I know I did the Chris Benoit video, the one to not be named, but to actually remember what I said, barely. I barely, after 11 years, I'm about to say 13, 11 years, I've forgotten almost everything I said in those first 10 videos. I don't remember hardly anything. I think I did one on Jets, I did one on 3 Religions, and then eventually I started doing Impact. I think that was the first one I did. If it's not, what was it? I think Raw, talking about the primetime players, I think. And then Impact. I don't remember anything else. But if you look at my videos, I was awkward. I was going like this a lot, and particularly my leg and back was pretty messed up when I first started. I'd only been out of work for about, almost 2 years. By that point, I was physically really in a lot of pain. And I'm still in pain, but I've now gone through therapy. I still do therapy. I take care of myself more better. I am a different person mentally now. Not saying I'm perfect. I'm still got depression and anxiety. But if you watch it, you can see I'm an entirely different person. Next to being really chunky. Oh my gosh, I was very chunky back then. But the point is, he's the same thing as me. I was still awkward, still learning, still trying to figure myself out. And here, it's kind of the same thing, but it's done well. He now has gone to a heel. And you can hear in his voice, he's trying hard to sell the heel bit. And maybe a little bit, it's not working because he still needs to fine tune it. This is the first time we see him as a heel. Really as a heel talking. But it sounds good about his woman, sound good about how he's acting. And I do believe he will be joining Luchasaurus and Christian eventually. Eventually. Not now. This ain't going to happen now. I do believe eventually he will work with them. But do I believe now? No, he has to work with Hook. The thing that gets me was him running away from Hook. He acted like a chicken shit heel. Why? I know everyone else is going to say, oh, it was fine. To be honest, no. You're giving Jack Perry the opportunity to be a badass heel. Someone who doesn't give a fuck. Someone that legitimately worked his ass off to get 2 shots. 1 shot at the world title of AEW and 1 shot at New Japan Pro Wrestling. And why is he running from Hook? Why? Why? Yes, Hook knows jiu-jitsu and several judos and other stuff. But it doesn't mean he has to run like that. He can jump out of the ring and be careful. But honestly, I don't think he needed it. I don't think he needed to do that. I don't agree with him running like a chicken shit heel. I don't think it's necessary, but that's just me. I don't know about just Alex or JD. Maybe they agree with it. They'll say, they're fine with it. It's good because he just did that heel thing that was great. But to me, no. I don't believe he needed it. He didn't need to run. He didn't. Now, I am not going to talk about the Acclaimed because I didn't see Rampage for the last couple of weeks. So I don't know particularly that Johnny TV, not Johnny Hungy, not Johnny Impact, not Johnny Night Delight, not Johnny Mondays or Johnny Mundo, it's Johnny TV. Pretty much, Kaya Valkyrie's husband is now on AEW TV and will appear on Rampage. I probably will not be able to see it because I will be seeing what's going to happen this SmackDown, which last SmackDown sucked. This one, unfortunately, probably sucked, but I'm going to check it anyway. But I'm not going to talk about that. I'm also not going to talk about the Acclaimed and what happened with the Kirby girl that tried to hit on Bowman. And I can't say anything because I haven't watched Rampage. Even though she's like, woo, boom, whew. But you get my point. I'm also not going to talk about MJF and Adam Cole. I'm leaving it. I'm leaving it to see what's going to happen next week because they are going to have a match. I'm leaving it. I'm not going there right now because of there's just not enough content for me personally. Yes, they're going to talk about them working together as a tag team and MJF is trying to make them gel, but honestly, I'm leaving it. Final. If I'm missing something, I'm sorry. This is the final match. A tornado tag, Sting and Allen versus Chris the Painmaker and Sammy Guevara. I want to see Sting and Chris alone. I'm sorry. I'm all fine with it because if they're leading to a final match alone with themselves and it's going to be a blood and guts, I'm fine with that. But here, which the match was fine, as a tornado tag, Sting is nuts. I think he's 68 years old or 67. I can't remember how old he is. You can leave it in the comments. I think he's 67, I think. I think 67. He's literally jumping off a ladder onto Sammy Guevara, who jumped on him at the pay-per-view, who did a twisting flip onto his ass. And when he was supposed to jump off the table and didn't, and got nailed, now he got him back. But the thing that got me was that he didn't land flat on both tables. He landed only on one, and his abdomen hit the edge of the table along with his knees hitting the floor. I'm probably going to use his image. I'm going to use that image and probably put a whole bunch of images around it as the thumbnail if I'm going to do it. I'm telling you, this match was very violent, very wild. It made me nervous. Especially once Chris got his head smashed in by the when you see, I'll commend Chris Jericho. I'll commend him. He's willing to take bumps and getting his head gashed open by a ladder when he got thrown in by Darby Allin in the ring. If you didn't see it, go watch it. Watch the match. You will see that this man at 52 years old, because he's my age, and I think he will be soon 53, because either he's my age at 52 or he's in 1970, I think. Either he's 71 or 1970, I can't remember. I think he's my age. This guy, who's about to turn 52, like me about to turn 52, is willing to do all this shit. He's still able to go. He still looks great for his age. He looks like a rock star. He acts like a wrestler. And no matter if you think that he ain't great, he is one of the greatest that exists. That not only can he still make himself relevant, he still is able to go at least enough that it's not perfect, but it's still great content. In the end, Sting tapped his ass out, was it? Yeah. Was he tapped out? Yep, I remember now. He put himself... First, Chris got him into the walls. The lion tamer. Got out of it. Then we get the Scorpion Deathlock. And eventually, a tap out by Chris Jericho. Sting won. And I'm not having a problem with it. But what I need, what I desire, and if they don't do it, it is stupid, is a one-on-one match between Sting and Chris Jericho. Something to build them both up to. I don't think this is over, but if it is over with just this match, it's going to piss me off because we're never going to get Sting and Taker. Mark Calloway will never get back in the ring, at least in WWE, unless Vince finds a way to convince him. And you know, unless Sting goes to WWE, you will never see Mark Calloway do it because Sting is always going to be in AEW, at least for now, and Mark is still locked down by Vince. Vince makes sure to keep that man's loyalty. So, did we get a very great show? It was an extension of Forbidden Door. Was it great? For many people, they'll love it. There's going to be something there for everyone to a certain extent. But there's going to be many that's not going to like it because they're not going to like the Japanese style, the blood, the fast-paced wrestling. There's always going to be someone that's going to say it's not going to be good. Me, personally, I'm in between. There's several things I didn't like I talked about already. But I can't say I was bored here. I'd rather see this than WWE at this point. Because Raw sucked. Carmelo Hayes jobs to Finn Balor, but wins against a rebooted Baron Corbin, who is now the Lone Wolf. What was the fuck of that? You had to look at this in Impact. But I'm not stopping doing my review of SmackDown, at least for a little while longer. Because once the Bloodline feuds and stories are over, there ain't going to be nothing that's going to hold me on Impact, well, not Impact, and WWE. I don't really care. There was only Trinity that I cared about. Generally. And she's now an Impact. So I'll be caring about Impact more. Peace.